What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we're going to give you our projected records for the SEC based off of all the projected records we have done. If you've missed it, we've gone through all the Power 5 teams, previewed the schedules, and then given a projected record based off of really how tough that schedule is and how good each team is expected to be. These are not our official predictions. Our predictions will look different. We do this every year, and they always are different, but it's simply a projection. Again, based off of how good most people think these teams are going to be, and then putting that up against how tough their schedule is. Let's go to the West now. Mississippi State finishes at the bottom, 2-6 in the SEC, 6-6 overall. Really, this was about their schedule. They've got a tougher schedule than some of the teams just ahead of them, and those teams were Arkansas and Auburn. And you see Auburn here at number 6. They would be 3-5 in the conference, 7-5 overall. They've got a really easy non-conference schedule. They do have to play Cal on the road, but Cal is not expected to be very good. So 7-5 for Auburn, 3-5 in the SEC. And then Arkansas also 3-5. They get Auburn at home. That's why they're ahead of them here in the standings. 7-5 overall for the Razorbacks. And just ahead of them, Texas A&M improving to 7-5, 4-4 in the SEC. And then also at 4-4 in the conference, Ole Miss, 7-5 overall. So they tied. They get Texas A&M at home. So again, that's what I did for the tiebreakers. Just went with a team that had home field advantage. And at number 2, we've got LSU, 10-2, 6-2. But that could easily be a different conference record if, let's say, they lose to Florida State. They could go 10-2, lose to Florida State, then they would be 7-1, and that would actually put them in first place because Alabama is in first at 6-2 as well. So 10-2 for the Tide, 6-2 in the conference. They've got a tough schedule. I mean, it really works out well for them because most of the big games are at home, Tennessee, LSU. But if you just look at their opponents, Texas in the non-conference, they actually have a pretty tough schedule this year. So again, if LSU were to lose to Florida State and go 10-2, that would put them at 7-1, and that would have them winning the SEC West. So again, we're considering it a tie here. Alabama with home field advantage. That's why they're ahead of them in the standings. But you could also look at Alabama. Let's say they lose to Texas and they go 10-2. They could also be 7-1. So a tie there at the top with Alabama, LSU. Then you've got Ole Miss, Texas A&M. Then Auburn, Arkansas tied. Mississippi State at the bottom. I did this with Mississippi State in a higher tier, but as some of these other teams. But their schedule was just tougher with who they play out of the East and everything. So that's why they finished at the bottom. And that's why schedules are so important when trying to determine which teams are going to have success in the upcoming season. So this is the projection for the West. We showed you the East. I'd love to get your thoughts. Do you think it's going to play out like this, close to this, maybe totally different? Give me your thoughts, your predictions down in the comments below.